Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Geek Press Podcast. I'm Noah, and today Lewis and I catch up and talk about the Summer Game Awards. So many amazing video games that we can just waste hundreds of hours on. Why go outside when we can sit inside and play games? If you enjoy what you're listening to, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please follow us across the social media. Help us reach the #1 chart so I can get that sweet, sweet Dollar Shave Club money. See you in a bit.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems. My name is Luis Gutierrez, and I'm joined by my rotating cast of celebrity co-hosts. Hey, you guys know them, love them. I am here with the one, the only, Mr. Jonah Hill. How you doing, Jonah Hill?
Hey, I'm doing okay. How's it going?
How's life been for you? I know you've been starring a lot with Leo. You got one of your first movies, if not your first movie, was Superbad. And you just had this whole crazy come up in Hollywood.
I think I ever since after Superbad, I've just been chasing that high, and I just can't get back to it.
I would argue you got even bigger since then, wouldn't you say so?
No, that was kind of my peak. I peaked.
That's sad.
Yeah. Welcome to my life. I'm Jonah Hill. I had to stop myself because my Jonah Hill impression was gonna turn into Rick, and I had to stop.
It was I was like, this is turning into something else.
It's turning into. But hi everyone, I'm Noah. I'm the co-host, and each week I'm subjected to doing a celebrity impersonation. I'm a little more familiar with Jonah Hill because in the past I've proclaimed to be the Mexican Jonah Hill.
That is
So
true.
I know a bit more about him, but I still was like, I am flabbergasted and caught off guard every week. And the thing is, even if you gave me a warning, like if you're just like, hey, I'm gonna say that you're Elizabeth Olsen this week, I need like get it together, I would still just not. I wouldn't be able to do it.
You don't think you could pull it through?
No, I'm not good at specific accents. I used to play D&D, and when I did, I used to like I I don't know why that's so funny to you. I used to play D&D, and I used to just have terrible accents, but it wasn't like celebrity impressions.
You know,
You know,
let's touch on that for a second. Let's backtrack.
that's not how we do the
How
show.
how many how many weeks has it been since we played D&D? It's been like a month, maybe
It's
two.
been a month. It's been a month.
I love how you've been keeping track of this.
I just like to play, and I'm just annoyed.
Listen, I will say this. I will say this for every
Uh-huh.
people listening. I gave the group a giant heads up leading into this month of, what are we in, June? Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave them a giant heads up. I was like, "Hey, June, I'm going to be super busy. So, maybe like the first half of June, I'm probably going to be flaky. I'm telling you guys right now."
Like you gave us a warning.
Yeah. And they were all like, "Don't worry, it's all good." Soon as it starts creeping up to that, I remember Kevin and Antom, people in our D&D group were like, "Oh, of course Luis is good." Like, they didn't say something, they didn't say like for like that, but they're like, "This motherfucker's canceling," and I'm like, "I gave you guys a heads up, you know."
And honestly, at least you gave a heads up. That's better than all of us deciding to play, and then one of our members say, "Oops, I can't do it. Sorry."
And you know what? Here's a Geek
I'm not gonna
Press
say who because I'm not gonna drop dimes.
here's a Geek Press exclusive. You ready?
Mhm. Geek
Um,
Press exclusive.
you guys are all hearing it here first. Noah's obviously hearing it before you guys,
I'm
and
very excited.
I am gonna have to cancel D&D the first week of July.
Oh, it's okay. I don't think we're playing anymore. I think it's done. I think it's dead. The biggest killer to D&D games is scheduling. And I think it's just over, and I think we have to accept that. I'm learning to accept it.
Are you really? It's you're like that person. You're like, I'm not jealous. I don't give a fuck. But the
Mhm.
more you say you don't give a fuck, and the more you're saying you're not jealous, it's like, oh, he's a little
It's
bit.
like, "Oh, that's how jealous you
Yeah.
are."
Okay. Let's
I've
let's let's
accepted it.
let's carry on now.
But
So
Lewis, how are you? Aside from my trauma, how are you? What's going on? What have you been up to?
so I have had a busy weekend, and I have had a busy week. So, for like
Mhm.
maybe like the last week and a half, maybe not, last 2 weeks, I've been battling a cold. It was a
Mhm.
mean cold, and I'm finally like I'm virtually better now. I'm like 95%. I still have to like clear my throat with like phlegm
Mhm.
every now and then, but it's not like what it used to be. And so I feel a lot more comfortable going out, without getting people sick, risk of getting them sick and shit like that. Being a decent human being, you know?
Mhm.
So leading into the weekend that just passed, it was like the summer showcase events for all like the big games coming out. So Xbox was there, Ubisoft was there. They all had their different events and all that. And then he had like Summer Games Fest was there. And it was a lot to like kind of do all at once because it was just all these events back to back to back to back. On the flip side though, these events, like, even though that it's a lot of work, it's guaranteed money, you know?
Mhm.
So even if the news week that week was kind of slow because everyone was kind of saving their announcements for the events, I was able to rack up like a couple $100 just kind of covering these events, you know? So I was like, all right,
Mhm.
cool. And one thing that like was even especially cool was that I had said it on the podcast that I got invited to Xbox show. And that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of
Mhm.
fun because leading up to that, I think I'd even talked about it on the podcast, but I had finally met up with one of my friends. He works with Game Informer. His name's Wesley LeBlanc. Shout out Wesley. He he lives like, I'm not gonna say where he lives, but he lives, nowhere near California. He lives in the United States, but
Mhm.
nowhere near California. And he had texted me. He was like, "Hey, we're all meeting up at this bar in LA. Come." And I'm like, "Okay." I dropped what I was doing and I went to LA. And I was able to kind of like mingle and network with people, you know? And so I went and that was a lot of fun kind of meeting my online buddy who I've known for years in person. It was super super cool. And then I went to now flash forward to Sunday with last Sunday. I had went to the Xbox showcase event because that was the only one that I got invited to. I'm in the media room. I'm just chilling and I'm gonna like name drop some. I see like these like prominent figures in the gaming industry. I see this gentleman named Dean Takahashi. He works for GamesBeat.
Mhm.
I see this guy named Jez Corden. He's a really big like Xbox reporter and works for this website called Windows Central. And
Mhm.
I'm just seeing all like these influencers, YouTubers, and then I see Rebecca Valentine. She is a phenomenal lady. She was the one who helped to get me in with IGN, but she was kind of working when I saw her, so I kind of just flagged her down a little bit. We gave each other a hug, and I was like, "You're awesome. Thank you for fucking opening the door for me so I could like get into IGN." We chatted a bit, and then she was working, so I didn't want to take up too much of her time, you know. Um, and then I went to the Xbox event, and that dude, that thing was fucking cool. Like it was honestly so cool. Like I'll get into it a little bit later, but it was finally nice to see like Xbox fucking show off some of their like bigger games. My biggest critique was that none of them really had a specific release date. It was just like,
Uh-huh.
oh, 2024, 2023, and I'm like, but when? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool, but when? So that was like one of my biggest critiques. And one of the things that like really was like really cool was I'm gonna kind of give you guys a little bit of a little bit of history from some
Mhm.
Louis lore, if you will.
Oh my gosh, is this canon Louis lore?
Yeah, this is canon Louis
Oh
lore.
my gosh. Into the retcon, and then who knows if it'll stay.
So what had happened was, let's flash back to my last year at Cal State University, Dominguez Hills. I was having an uphill battle covering video games. And my professor and the editorial staff, I'm not going to name drop people, just, they didn't want to cover video games. They didn't want to really do entertainment pieces. And that's all I ever want to do. I don't really like to cover main. I think it's very important, but that's just not something I like to do, you know? So I just had this uphill battle and I was like, fuck, man. Like you
Mhm.
guys are after a while, when everyone starts to tell you one thing, you start to kind of believe it, you know?
Mhm.
So I was just like, man, am I being a fucking idiot? Because even like not as much of my community college, but a lot of my community college, I had an uphill battle when I wanted to cover video games as well. So everything was starting to kind of get to me a little bit. And I saw this and around this time too, I was thinking, I was like, are they right? Am I wasting my time with video games? Blah, 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 you know? And I was on Twitter and I saw that IGN, this was a couple years ago, and I saw that
Mhm.
IGN uploaded this like documentary like video, and it was the gentleman who like essentially was the face of the documentary. His name was Joe Screbbles, and I apologize if I'm saying your last name wrong, Joe. But he essentially made this whole documentary about how he was at a bar, because he's English. He was at a bar
Mhm.
somewhere in like in the UK.
It was at a pub.
Yeah, and he was talking to some dude, and this dude was like, "Yeah, I know the guy who brought Nintendo to America, and the whole reason why he brought it to America is because he like essentially told a white lie, and he worked his way up to like an executive position." And I had that interview kind not that interview, that whole like documentary. By the end of like, by the time I finished watching it, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, "Nah, fuck these guys, they're wrong. I'm gonna keep doing video games." Like, so that documentary kind of helped like give me that extra push like to gain like self confidence again in working in games, you know? So
Mhm.
as I was now going back to the Xbox showcase, as I was in the press room, I saw him there. And I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna flag him down. I'm gonna talk to him, just kind of, like tell him how impactful his documentary was to me. So I do so. And he has this lovely British accent, this like British charm. And I'm like,
He's like,
hey,
"Oh, hello, that sounds really good. I love that for you." It's like that.
yes, just like that. And I flag him down, and I'm like, "Hey, your documentary like kicked ass, and it helped inspire me, blah blah blah." And he's telling me by the end of that conversation, he was like, "Dude, thank you." He was like, "Fuck yeah, that's awesome to hear." He's like, "You just made my whole weekend," because he works for Xbox now. He works like on the editorial side of Xbox, and he was
Mhm.
like, "I don't give a fuck how this showcase goes. Like honestly, you just made my entire weekend. Thank you." And I didn't know if he was busy or anything, so I shook his hand. And I was like, okay, I'll catch you later. I said what I wanted to
Mhm.
say, so see you later. And he's like, okay, bye bye. Now, flash forward to the end of that night. Everyone's at the bar. And I'm kind of there, and I'm seeing like all like these like head developers, like these like the guys who fucking like the owners of the studios, this and that. And I'm so nervous to talk to any of these guys because I'm just fucking scared. These are like millionaires I'm in a room with now, you know?
Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't know how to approach these guys. I'm fucking scared. I'm texting Elizabeth. I'm like, hey, I might just come home early. And then I see Joe at the bar, and I flag him down again. And he was like, hey, he remembers me. He's like, hey, Luis. And I'm like, hey, Joe, this and that. Because he used to, before jumping to IGN, he had a big editorial position at, before jumping to Xbox, I mean, he had a big
Mhm.
editorial position at IGN. I forgot what his exact title was, but it was like, fucking executive editor, whatever it
He was
was.
like baddest bitch at the company.
Yeah. And he was like high up there, high up the chain of command. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of talking to him, and I'm just like, hey man, can I pick your brain for a minute? And he was like, sure, what do you want to know? And I explained to him, I'm like, I'm new in this industry. I don't necessarily know what I want to do just yet, but you obviously made a big impact while you were here. How can I get better? And we ended up talking for probably what was like hours, honestly, like for a hot minute. And within that time, like I felt like we really bonded, him and I, because we started shooting shit with each other. We started joking
Mhm.
around, and like we got along really well. And then like
Uh-huh.
by the end of that whole conversation, like a fucking he like lit a fire under my ass, and
Mhm.
like fucking I had even told him, I was like, Joe, I was like, I feel like I could climb a fucking mountain after this conversation we just had. And he says in his lovely British way, he's like, "Oh, you're too nice, you're too charming," and gives me like a little pat on the shoulder. And
Mhm.
the long and short of it is like he kind of like helped open my eyes, because I was like, I don't know what to do. Like I'm kind of at a crossroad right now. And he just like laid out everything. He was like, "It's okay if you do this. It's okay if you do that. he was saying like if I was still an editor, I would look for this. The odds are your editors are looking for this. Expand your horizon by doing this and do that and do this, you know? And I was like, holy shit. So this whole week I was using everything he told me and putting it into practice.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, my editors were just fucking they were loving it.
Oh
And
my
I
god.
like there was one thing that I was super excited for. And I was a little I was a little bummed out that I didn't get the response I wanted, but IGN got the response that I wanted, but they phrased it a lot better. So shout out to Alex, she's a rock star over there. So what had happened was they had an extended showcase earlier this week in the weekdays, and they had a DLC for the game High on Life, which is funny enough the Rick and Morty studio, but the guy's no longer with them. So, we don't got to talk
Mm-hmm.
about all that. But they announced the DLC, and I reached out to my editor and I was like, "Hey, can I reach out to the studio on behalf of us and kind of see if I get some more information about blah blah blah?" And he was like, "Go for it. It sounds like it sounds like you know exactly what you're talking about." I'm like, "Okay, sounds awesome." I reached out to them. They kind of gave me a vague ass answer. I reached out to my editor again. He was like, "Yeah, that's not enough for like a full blown story, but we could like throw it in our story and say, oh, GameSpot reached out to them and this is what they said." And then he even
Mm-hmm.
told me too. He was like, "Hey, great job on taking initiative on that." And that's like that's something I would have never done if I would have never talked to Joe. If I would have never had this whole conversation with Joe. And I was like, "Holy shit! Like this is fucking cool, you know." And I was like pitching so many stories this week. I already got stories for next week that I plan on pitching, and like the gears are starting to turn for me a lot more, and I feel a lot more confident in like my job security, not job security, but like getting shit done. If that makes sense, you
Yeah,
know?
like the future of you still working, maybe
Yeah,
like you're showing them that you still have stuff in the gas in like your pocket.
yeah. And I was even talking about it with Elizabeth. She was like, "Man, like." She's like, "I like seeing you like this because you've just been like inspired, like it's all like I talk about work a lot because I like what I do." And she was like, "You've been talking about it a lot more than usual, and like the way you're talking about it's like I'm happy to see you're like this." And I'm like, "I'm happy to be like this too, you know?" Like I kind of
Mhm.
feel like I'm fucking all zoinked out on something. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, okay, this," but in a good way, in a really good way.
Yeah, that's called passion, baby, and you got it.
Thank you. And I know I've been talking a lot, so I'm gonna kind of like wrap this up a little bit. So,
Mhm.
well, here's something that I thought was super cool. So at the Xbox showcase, they had a thing afterwards called like the fan event, and also too, right after the Xbox showcase was like they had like an exclusive showcase for exclusive press members,
Mhm.
and then Ubisoft, no, not Ubisoft, Square Enix had their event right after showing off Final Fantasy, and I was a little salty. One because I didn't get invited to the exclusive Xbox event where they had like more hands-on demos and shit and talking to the press, not the press, the developers, and then with the Square Enix. But at the same time, this kind of like made me more passionate because I was like, okay, I got invited to this, but there's clearly more work for me to do because I'm not getting invited to these events. So I need to work even harder, you know? So I looked at this as more of like, okay, I made it this far, but I'm just getting to the fucking stairs leading up to the mountain now, you know?
Mhm.
Like if I want to get to that temple, I gotta fucking climb all the way up, so to speak, you know?
On your hands and
Yeah, like
knees.
I made it up to the mountain. Now I got to go up the stairs. And
Yeah.
so that was one way I was looking at it. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm a little
Mhm.
salty, but I need to I need to take a moment to appreciate my wins here. You know,
Mhm.
because I've made a lot of progress so far.
Yeah. You really have. You're just taking your time.
hmm And so here's the cool thing that I wanted to tell you. And I
Mhm.
talked about it on Twitter, and you even like commented on it as well.
Okay,
So
this is great because I don't remember what it was, so I can be surprised right now.
So at the Fan Fest event, they had a lot of photo ops and a lot of like interactive booths, and if you participated in them, they gave you like free swag merch, yada yada yada, you know. And so if you guys know anything about me, obviously I love video games, but more specifically, one of my favorite games of all time is Cyberpunk 2077. I really enjoyed that game when it first came out, and I enjoyed the anime. I've read majority of the comic books. I'm a big fan of the entire like franchise as a whole, and it all stemmed from the video game. So I had saw on because they broke up like their fan fest with like two floors. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to the upper floor and they had a demo for the upcoming DLC Phantom Liberty. Now this DLC is supposed to be like it's supposed to rewrite the game essentially. It's a $30 expansion and it just adds so much to it. It adds a whole new storyline and a lot of things. And I saw the demo there and I was like, that's cool. I'm not gonna play the demo because I want to go in knowing virtually nothing, you know? Like I know a little bit of what I know just because, I'm in the press. But I was like, I wanna go in blind. And I had saw people walking around with art books, and it turns out that the Cyberpunk booth was giving away art books for people who were playing the demo. And I was like, fuck,
Mm-hmm.
I want an art book. I guess I'm gonna have to play the demo. So I went up to the line and I was talking to them and I was like, hey, is there any chance I could play the demo? And they had told me they're like, oh, we're actually all booked up for the day, but someone might cancel. Just hang out. You never know. I was like, okay. Started chatting with the developers. Me and them are all we instantly all get along,
Mm-hmm.
and we're shooting the shit, this and that. And then the very last batch of people that are playing, they're like, all right, come up. And then one of the guys was like, hey, do you want to play? There's a slot open for you. I'm like, oh hell yeah, I definitely want to play. So he hooks me up and I'm playing, blah blah blah. And I'm playing the game. I'm doing my thing, And as I'm playing, I see I see someone pull out the Cyberpunk Collector's Edition right in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking to
Oh,
myself,
I remember now. I remember
yeah,
now. Sorry, I was just like, "What is he talking about?" Oh, right. Okay,
yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
And so then I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, huh, somebody brought their whole Collector's Edition. That's cool. I guess they just wanted the team to they wanted the team to sign it. Didn't think much of it
Mm-hmm.
after that. So, and then as I'm playing the game, the demo ends on a cliffhanger because they want to they want to suck you in. And as soon as the cliffhanger ends,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, ah, and I turn around and I hear them all laughing like at my response. And then as soon as like I officially turn around, I fucking saw everybody looking at me. Like the entire like dev team was looking at me to kind of give you like an idea of how it was. It's like that the joke in not Family Guy and Simpsons when they're like, "Hey Bart, say the thing," and they're all looking at Bart.
Uh-huh.
That's how it was with me, bro. Like they were just all looking, and I'm like, "Oh my god, did I break something?" That was my first thought. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh fuck, what did I do?" And so um what happens is that the head guy of that booth is like, hey, have you played this game before? And I was like, yeah, I played it like a little ways out when the game initially came out. And they're like, sorry if you can hear a saw in the background, by the way. There's people
No,
cutting
it's
trees.
fine.
Okay.
I hear nothing, so don't worry about it.
Okay. And so he was like, no, have you played this demo before? And I was like, no, this is my first time playing this demo. He was like, so you've
Mhm.
never gone to another event and you never played this at other places? And I was like, no, this is my first time. And he was like, wow, you're like really good at this game. Like we've never seen anyone play like you before at
Mhm.
like any of these events. And we all stopped what we were doing and just watched you play, and we were convinced you played this demo at other places because of like the combos you were doing, like the way you were like running around, everything you were doing was like perfect, like was essentially how we imagined the ideal player to play it. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, thank you. I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm just a big fan of the game. And then they're like, yeah, it clearly shows. And then he was like, hey, do you own the collector's edition? And I told him, I was like, no. I was like, I bought the digital version on my Xbox a little ways back, but that's about it. And he
Mhm.
was like, well, do you want the collector's edition? And then before he has a chance to say anything else, I'm like, can I give you a hug? And so then like I give like that entire like dev team a hug, and we're all just kind of like shooting the shit at this point. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a really big fan. I showed them some like editorial like feature stories I wrote on Cyberpunk. this franchise really means a lot to me. So like the fact that you guys are kind of like, recognizing me means a lot just to me.
Mhm.
And so that was like super fucking cool. And then like as I got that at the very end of the event, and it was so funny because I'm walking downstairs with like this big ass box. Like I have people like, hey, I'll pay you like $200 for that. I'll pay you $300, and I'm like, poor ass is like, I'm thinking, but like the hoarder in me, I was like, no, this is mine. I was like,
You're Gollum?
yeah, exactly.
Now
I fucking
precious, my collector's edition.
and I looked at the statue and everything, and it's so fucking cool. Like it's really really cool. But yeah, I talked a lot for
You know
maybe.
what? That's okay because that's incredibly exciting. I'm so happy for
Thank
you.
you.
And I remember that even when that first dropped and I was jokingly talking shit, you would defend the hell out of that game. So I was just like, I see a lot of buggy. And you're just like, that's because it's not on Xbox One.
Hmm.
So I remember. So I'm very happy that you got that. I'm very proud of you. Should we just talk about the event
Yeah.
itself?
Also, really quick too, I
Mhm,
made some like I met some people, and I might be doing more freelance work at other places soon.
mhm.
So that's really cool too.
That is really cool. And I'll also say that if you ever need me to sleep with anyone to further your career, I'm willing to do it.
I feel like I could go
'Cause
either way. I'm willing to roll the
just
dice.
yeah, I'm just trying to help you out. That's all. Trying to be a good friend. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm lonely.
All right, I'm happy to hear that.
I'm very lonely. Please help. But yeah, the event was really cool. If you guys didn't know, it was a summer showcase that just showed off a bunch of games that's coming out. Some of the highlights were like Prince of Persia and Avatar Frontiers and 3 freaking Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah, a lot of Assassin's
Mhm.
Creed
Which
games.
is funny because one's, for Nexus VR, one's for mobile, and then one's, like, just a strict, I believe, console, and I'm just like, "That's so much fucking Assassin's Creed. That's so much." And I thought they had finally started to slow down because I remember back in the day when they had, like, a new Assassin's Creed every year,
Yeah,
and I know they took, like, a quick, like, a year or 2 break, and I was like, "Okay, thank God, let's take it a step back," but clearly they're back on full blast, I guess. But I just have no interest in returning to that world. Did you ever play
same.
Assassin's Creed?
I played so I remember playing
Mhm,
the original one when it first came out when
mhm.
I think I was like in middle school when that happened, give or take.
Same.
Yeah, I remember playing that, really liking it. I played the second one, really liked it.
Mhm,
And then years later I remember they had like spin-offs of the second one. I played those like years later when it was like $20, give or take.
mhm,
And I think I jumped in between the series, but this was when it was still more or less the same DNA as the original. Like I played Black Flag, which was arguably one of the best ones, which where you play as a pirate.
oh, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, that one's really good. And then I played Unity. I
Mhm,
played fuck. I think that's about it. Yeah, I've only played maybe when when they were like more or less still the OG Assassin's Creed. Once they started to branch off and do like, oh, now you're in ancient Egypt or you're a gladiator in Rome, that's when I stopped playing.
mhm. I get that. I really got into the series in high school
Mhm.
because I believe Black Flag was just dropping, and I played the first one, and I was like, "Oh, I wanna get into this series." And it was very Kingdom Hearts of them to have a bunch of games that weren't numbered, but were essential to the story.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very funny. So I was used to it. I wasn't upset because I was just like, "Oh, this is just like Kingdom Hearts." I'm used to playing like nonsense side games in order
Hmm.
to understand the story. So I really enjoyed that. But then after Black Flag, I didn't really care anymore. And every time I saw a trailer for a new one, it all just kind of I don't know. There's just nothing special about the settings anymore.
No, I agree with you.
I think the only time that I did seem kind of interested in the setting was when they I know you just talk shit about the Egypt one, but I thought the Egypt one was interesting just because it was so far back,
Hmm.
and I thought like, okay, so it's a little different from the first one, but it's different enough to catch my eye, but still I've just never paid attention to it. I kind of want them to I feel like their main story needs some work. I heard that if you guys liked the present day modern day story, that it was solved in a comic series, like, they didn't even solve it in game.
Well, what I remember is that oh shit, okay, I didn't know that because
Yeah, like
I
mhm.
remember for one of the big things they were doing was like in for the original trilogy, it was like I forget the guy you play. I think his name's like Desmond or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, oh, you're finding the apple. It's very biblical. It's like, oh, you're finding the apple of Eden. There was ancient aliens who came here, blah blah blah. And then at the end of Assassin's Creed 3, they fucking kill him, and that's
Mhm.
it. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's lame. Like how they do it.
Mhm.
But go
But
on.
there's this whole thing about, like, gods and this and that, and instead of solving that in game, it was solved in a comic, apparently?
And that's a giant red flag.
Yeah, that's not good. It just tells me that your modern day storylines are bankrupt, and you
It's like Star Wars trying to justify Palpatine coming back and having an armada of fleets, and in the comic books, like, ha, 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 how do we justify this?
how do we cover this ground? So I'm just like, you know what? This is gonna sound crazy. I think I'd like a modern day Assassin's Creed story.
A lot of people wanted that, you know,
Mhm,
because I think that was kind of like the idea. Now I could be making this up, but I think that the idea was they were just progressively going forward in time, because the first
mhm.
one was like the Holy Crusades, then it was the Renaissance, and then it was the American Revolution. So then I was like, oh, what's next? Like fucking World War I, and then what's after that? You
Dude,
know?
oh my gosh, a World War One or two Assassin's Creed would be kinda sick.
Exactly. You know, you could
Like the
just
fucking the Templars or the Nazis.
yeah, you could do some crazy shit and just kind of get away with
Oh,
it.
and there was a whole thing about Hitler being obsessed with the paranormal and the occult.
See that it writes itself.
Okay,
It writes it.
Ubisoft just hire us, Ubisoft. What's your fucking problem?
Yeah, and then like you low key killed Hitler, and that's like that'd be fucking cool.
Hitler was a Templar.
Oh god, dude, like that that would be fucking cool. I want to play as an assassin who kills Hitler.
He got all the master race shit from one of the apples or some shit. He's like, "Oh, we're the descendants." He is fucking crazy. Ubisoft should hire us. What the fuck?
Yeah,
He's brown, I'm bi. We check off diversity higher.
there you go. You don't need to hire anyone else. We'd be
Yeah,
the only diversity there.
yeah. I will get very corrupt with my power though, and I will abuse it. I'm just gonna say now. But you know what? What's new for Ubisoft?
hmm
That's not anything new to them.
But speaking of new Ubisoft stuff,
Mhm.
they announced it at the Xbox event. It was Star Wars Outlaws. Now, Noah, I
Mhm.
know you love your female leads in Star Wars, but ooh, I hate
Oh
them
my god.
ladies.
Oh my
Ooh.
god. Don't get me fucking started.
That
Did you
was
see
a
that
joke, by
dumbass
the way.
tweet? That was a joke.
What what tweet? What
Lewis
tweet?
loves women. There was a tweet, that was I'm gonna look I have it right here. They posted the trailer, this, Star Wars Twitter, and then this guy, I'm gonna call him out, Cinema Shotgun, he tweeted, "Are there any men left in the
Oh,
universe?"
fuck off.
And then it's funny because there are some people just like, "Bro, we're rarer than the Jedis," like, laughing emojis. And then people were obviously like, aside from those that were agreeing with him, were obviously just like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" Like, we have 2 Cal Kestis games. We just
Yeah.
got a Cal Kestis game.
And you have the fucking Mando who like everyone's horny for. Yeah, what? Luke
Mhm,
Skywalker, you got Han Solo, There's more men in the universe, like more male
mhm.
leads than female.
I thought it was funny because I saw people respond with, like, specific games, like, for The Force Unleashed, Knights of the Old Republic, Jedi Fallen Order, Survivor, Dark Forces, Jedi Knight, Battlefront, Republic Commando, and I thought that was just so funny because it's like, that's a bad take. And
Yeah.
it's just it's funny because I almost feel like that overshadows, like, the game for me, but let's get back to the game.
Mhm.
It's exciting because it's the, first ever, quote, "open worlds" game,
Uh-huh.
so you can, like,
It's
go on a ship and fly
and
off
it's choice
worlds.
based.
Mhm. It's giving me a little bit of, like, Knights of the Old Republic, that type of vibe, where you
Mhm.
can just, like, go to different planets. It's focusing on heists in the criminal underground.
Honestly, I'm all for that. I don't think we've explored much
Mm,
of that either. I don't know about the cartoons. I know the cartoons dabbles in it a little bit from what I've seen in
mm,
Clone Wars, but I want to see more of that like grimy underground shit, like with the huts
mm.
and all that. They kind of do it with Boba Fett, but not really.
If there's one thing that annoys me a little bit, it's that
Oh, here we
I
go. I'm kidding. I'm
oh
kidding.
man.
I'm kidding.
uh I think we've talked about this on the podcast before,
Uh-huh.
where we've both agreed that Star Wars feels like it's stuck in certain time periods that it can't get out of.
Yeah.
And this is more of that, but at the same time, I understand why it's set in a certain time period.
I
Because it's
agree.
like it's like a very good time for like uh for rebels and outlaws and all kind of illegal shit. So I understand why it's set at this time period. I'm just a little like, "Oh, we're here again. Oh, we're going to Tatooine again.
Another
Oh, we're
untold story in the age of
another
the
untold
Empire.
story in the age of the Empire. Oh, look, our stormtroopers again." Like it never ends, but I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it.
hmm
I'm that's not like a make or break for me. It's just like, "Oh, here we are back again."
Yeah, it's like fuck.
Mhm,
How much more before like we bleed this dry?
mhm. Yeah, like, we're already having stuff that leads directly into movies and shit, like, that's literally Andor.
Fuck.
So I'm just like, "Ooh," that's why I know people are very, there's lots of differing opinions on the new films, especially the ones that are supposedly supposed to focus on Rey, but I'm just excited we're getting out of, like, the time period, like, let's
Same.
explore new ground.
Uh-huh.
Plus,
Same.
I like Rey, I just think she's like a many of those people of those films, she's just a victim of bad writing.
Yeah, she's too strong. She needs to get beat up.
She gets beat up all the time.
Not as much as like Luke or Anakin.
I we had this little conversation because you feel like she never had, like, a proper fall. We
Yeah.
literally had this conversation because you feel like she never had, like, a proper fall, and I will say, yeah, that's just bad writing, though, she's fine.
No, I'm not hating on her. I'm not hating on her at all.
Mhm.
I mean, I do hate women, but she's an exception.
Oh my god.
That was a
Oh
joke. That
my
was a joke. I feel
god.
what's funny? I feel like someone like if someone really wanted to cancel me, they could just like get that clip right there. Just like, see, there you go. You heard
You heard it, we knew
it.
it. Cancel him. Go to his Twitter. It'd be funny if you hated all women but Rey Skywalker.
But
And not
not
not even the actress, the character of Rey Skywalker.
Daisy Ridley. Get her
Yeah.
out of here.
You're like, "Unless you put your hair into that bun, I don't wanna see ya."
Yeah, get out. But yeah, okay, but going back to the game, it looks good.
Mhm,
I was watching the trailer for it.
mhm,
There was like a 10-minute gameplay reveal and it looked cool. I've been wanting an open world choice-based game for Star Wars because most of the Star Wars games have been like, run down a hallway, shoot 'em up or slash 'em.
mhm.
That's the game. I'm cool with that. But give me some variety.
Yeah, let's get that variety.
And I did like the trailer where she's talking to an empire like officer, and then the
Mhm,
officer's like, "Oh, you have to pay the tax like everybody does," and then you have a choice to either like pay her credits or not. And in the trailer, they choose not to pay her the credits, and then the officer's like, "Sorry if you could hear the. Oh, I'm gonna mute my mic for. Oh no, we're good. We're good. We're good."
yeah,
Um,
it's mhm,
and then in the trailer, she's like, "Oh, you didn't pay the tax. You're gonna regret that. Good luck making it off this rock." And then she presses a button, and it's like, "Hey, all stormtroopers, be on the lookout for this girl." Blah 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 blah. And then it has like a GTA like system where you see like the wanted level, and they're like getting the fuck out of the planet. I'm like, "Oh, this looks cool." Like I like that a lot. And it got me thinking.
mm,
I'm like, what if you paid the tax? Would that have even happened? You know?
mhm.
Like that looks cool.
I love the GTA comparisons because 'cause I've said in the past that there should be a GTA-esque Star Wars game,
Uh-huh.
and I'm happy to see those kind of like that idea being drifted in. And I do like making choices and seeing, like, actual consequences because if you pay her the money, then guess what? You're out those credits and you can't buy whatever shit you need to buy.
But on the flip side, you don't need to fight for your
Hmm.
fucking life.
Hmm. So that's very exciting.
So
What
let
I
me.
what?
Oh, go for it.
Mhm. Go ahead. I was
So,
about to. I just wanted to mention before I get that I think the gameplay looks really cool.
uh-huh.
What do you think? What do you think the major? Because you're more of a gamer than I am. What does it look like? The difference? Is there any difference in the gameplay between this and Jedi Survivor or any of
Oh,
those like I guess games?
most definitely because
Is it
Jedi
just the saber stuff?
Jedi Survivor plays like Elden Ring, you know? It's like a
Mhm.
watered down version of Elden Ring. And if anyone is familiar with Elden Ring, it's a very like challenging game where it's purposely hard. And you gotta like time your hits, you gotta time your blocks, everything. This one looks more like a I would say from the vibes I saw in the trailer, it gives me like Uncharted vibe, like how it plays. You
Mhm.
know, it's like you're third person, you got your sneaky moments, you got your running gun moments, and then you have your moments where you're fucking running away from a helicopter, what the Star Wars equivalent of a helicopter. And then if you really want to go wild, you fucking have dogfights in space, you know?
Mhm.
So I think like that, it's gonna be a blend. It's gonna be that, but they're gonna build upon it because I saw parts in the trailer too where she's like grabbing onto like zip lines and zipping around
Mhm.
the battle arena, or she's like hiding behind people or throwing grenades to lure one guy to another position, stuff like that, you know.
Mhm.
So I think it's gonna play a lot like that. And from what I heard, I never read any of the previews, but from what I heard from buddies who went to go play the demo, they were like, "Yeah, this game it runs really good." And
Mhm.
one of my friends even said he was like, "This kind of feels like it's ready, like it's a full blown game, and it plays good and it feels really good too." So
Oh
like
wow.
unofficially, unofficial previews I heard through friends that it's really good, and that got me excited for it.
Mhm. I'm very excited about it too. I think I'm very interested to see what they do with the space combat,
Uh
simply because, it reminds me a lot of the recent, Battlefront 2,
mhm.
and I thought the space combat in that game was really well done.
Mhm.
And I think there's a fun moment in the trailer where, you have to, like, take just like in sort of the films and, game and shows and stuff, you have to take time to, like, calibrate your route on hyperdrive. So it takes, like, 30 seconds, and if you get shot, then that route's interrupted, and I thought that was a fun little mechanic. Like, you have to avoid getting shot while you calculate your hyperspace jump.
Yeah,
And I was like,
see
"Oh, that's
that
cool."
shit's cool.
Mhm, so I'm excited to see what they do with that. Yeah, I'm interested in this game.
Has I know I keep asking you this every like other week now, but
That's okay.
is this luring you more towards getting a PlayStation?
It is, but I have things to pay for, so I'm not sure if it's gonna be anytime soon,
Okay, I got you. I got you. And
but I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, go, I was gonna change topics a bit, so keep going.
Okay, before we change topic, I just wanna say it's interesting to see how many people are horny for the droid.
Oh, I wrote a whole article on that.
Yeah, I saw that, ND5,
Uh huh.
and people are I saw people that are just like, what's up with why do they have this slutty ass waist? What's going on?"
It was funny
I mean
because
mhm,
when I was writing that article and when I was getting tweets to put into the story, I had grabbed a tweet from a girl who works in PR. It's a mutual who I
mhm,
know, and it was so fucking funny because I was like, should I ask her before I do this? And I was like, you know, nah, this is like harmless fun. It's nothing bad, you know. And so I was
mhm.
talking to a buddy who works with her in the same PR company, and he texted me. He was like, "Bro, the second I saw that you wrote that and had her thing in there, I immediately sent that shit to her, and everyone was having a laugh at it. So even she was. So that was good. It was a good time.
I thought it was funny that people were just into it and very
I
funny.
mean, I could see why people are thirsting over him, but it's
Uh,
so funny at
I
the same time.
I don't see it, but I think I mean, the voice actor sounds cool, so maybe it's the voice actor thing, but, people are freaky, so who knows?
It's a lot of it. I feel like too has to do. I forget what it's called, but it's like you know when you see the hot anime boys and they have the bone leading
Um,
down to like their dick.
there's an inappropriate name and there's a more modest name. It's called, V-lines.
There we go. Because he kind of has like a V line six
Mhm.
pack thing going. I feel
Yeah,
like that has a
yeah.
big part to do with it.
Okay, I'm looking at tweets right now. One of the top ones is why does he sound so hot? And it's a clip of him talking. I thought that was funny. Like, dang, all right, people, you're thirsting over the droid. Although in the trailer we did see some droid racism when our
Yeah,
girl was trying to go into the club and he was just like, "No droids." Like, damn, Anakin, like, fuck, you didn't fix droid racism.
you would think that'd be like the first thing Vader would like abolish.
Yeah, like slavery is still happening, Vader. Like, what's the point? What are you doing? Like, I'm holding Vader up to morals. Like, Vader, what's going on?
You
Like,
fucking hypocrite.
you fucking hypocrite. But what else? We have no transition. What's the next
So
topic
I
we're
was
gonna
gonna
talk
say like
about?
another game that
Mhm.
got me excited was watching Starfield. So those are
Oh, what's that?
so it's the people who make Fallout and Skyrim. It's their newest IP, and it's a space version of these games. And I would recommend you watch it. You watch the trailer they showed off at the Xbox showcase. It's like a 10, close to like 30 minutes. You know? They do like a real deep dive
Mhm.
into it, and the game looks fucking bonkers. It looks insane because like the character customization you do, it's you make you could create your own ship, and as you're flying in space you have to like divert power places. So it's like, oh, if I'm
Mhm.
gonna put all my juice in my engine, that means my guns are weak. But if I put all uh, I only have like 5 points to spend, and I have like six fucking slots, so I need to put one in the gun, one in the engine,
Mhm.
one in my shield. So like, and it was just watching like how they do that was so insane. And there was like so much customization within that game. Like there was parts of it they were saying, they're like, yeah, there's gonna be like uh religious fanatics in space. And one of the developers was talking. It was a guy or a girl, I forget, but they were saying, they're like, I was able to avoid this fight with otherwise hostile NPCs because my character is the same religion as them, and I was
Mhm.
just able to say, "Oh, praise be to fucking whoever their their icon is." And then
Mhm.
another developer was like, "Yeah, I wasn't a part of that religion, and I had to fight my way through these people because they were trying to steal my ship." And it was just all these like, you got to watch it. There's so much they do, and just like all the different. Fuck, this game looks so good. It looks so good. It's just like all the different planets you could visit, and all like just it's like, it's like a sky, like if you played Skyrim, if you played Fallout, it's that, but like fucking times 100, but in space, and it'll just look so cool. Like I was really like, it's just hard to kind of like get one thing, and also it's been like a week since I've seen that trailer, but
Mhm.
it's so good. Like I'm happy that I have both an Xbox and PlayStation because yeah, I'm gonna play this game when it comes out for
Mhm.
sure. Honestly, too, I think you would like it. Like I know I
It
always
sounds
I
interesting.
know I always say jokingly, "Oh, when are you gonna get an Xbox?" But if there was one game to get you to get an Xbox, it'd probably be this game, you know. And X
Mhm.
and going back to that too, Xbox is like heavily banking on the game. Like this is gonna be the one that fucking puts them back on the map, you know. This is their like Last of Us. Like that's how
You think
much.
so?
Yeah, that's how
Damn, it
much.
must be that big.
Yeah, and what was even cool too was after the showcase, the guy who runs Bethesda Studios, his name's Todd Howard, and I saw him in the media room, and I like shook his hand, and he like complimented my NASA bomber jacket, so that was really cool.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I would say watch that. And another one that I got really excited for at the Xbox event was, I'm a big fan of Fable. So if you guys haven't played Fable, it's like this British humor game where you play as like a hero, like a
Mhm.
kind of like a medieval esque hero. It's like during like that time, but you have powers and shit. And the game has been Xbox hasn't done nothing with the IP and since like the 360 era, and they're finally making a new one, and they showed off the trailer for the
Mhm.
latest Fable, and it looks so good. Like the whole trailer, it starts off like a mockumentary, and then like it ends with like the hero like slaying this giant, like in a like Jack and the Beanstalk kind of thing, and it seems like it has like that British humor that Fable has. It has like, it just looks so fucking good, and the graphics look insane And one thing I was really looking forward to is that the people who make Forza, they created another studio just to work on that game and using the same engine. So I remember playing Forza just so I could get an idea of what Fable looked like, what will look like, and it looks gorgeous, dude. It looks insanely good, and I'm really excited to play that. Comes out.
I'm excited for you. I know nothing about Fable, but I've seen some I've seen advertisements before. It looks
Mm.
interesting. I
You
think
would
it's
like
funny.
it. That's
Mhm.
definitely a Noah game. Sure.
I'll have to look at it. But I know there was another controversy with it because people were like there's a main character is another woman, right? Or
Yeah,
something? And people were like, "Oh, I fixed it," and they
made
like
her more
fixed her
like pretty and
yeah,
stuff, which is
more like conventionally attractive, and
yeah.
I'm just like, "Isn't she in a fucking medieval village or some shit? She's not gonna have like access to eyeliner and mascara, like."
And here's the fucking stupid
Mhm,
thing about all that. They haven't announced, they haven't officially said it, but if
mhm,
history is any indicator, in Fable you create your own fucking character.
mhm,
So that's just like the poster boy or poster girl, if you will.
mhm,
So like, why does it matter if you don't find this person attractive, or if you don't like how that's not gonna be your character, because you're
mhm.
gonna choose your gender, you're gonna choose your hair, you're gonna choose everything about the character you make. It doesn't fucking matter, you know. I was just like, oh
Yeah,
god, fucking gamers are the worst. That's all.
gamers are the worst, and they're fucking annoying.
Mhm.
But I thought it was funny because there was a tweet that I know nothing about Fable, but it made me laugh,
Mhm.
and they're just like, "OG Fable would never," and then it shows all the old character models, and they're all fucking ugly.
Yeah, that was
Like,
the
they're
whole
just saying,
point.
they're saying, like, "Oh, these people have always been fucking ugly. Don't worry about it."
That's yeah.
And she's not even ugly, she's just like a medieval
No,
woman.
I
She's a
thought
medieval woman.
when I saw, her, I'm like, she's a cutie, right?
Mhm,
That's I wasn't like, oh my god, they fucking. This is people just complaining for the sake. Like I saw one of my editors tweet out when he was like, "Oh, I fixed it." He was like, "Guys, you don't have to fuck everything you see, right?" And I was like, "Oh, that's perfect."
I remember a similar thing happened with, Horizon Zero Dawn because they did a thing where they had Alloy, the main character, and they, like, edited it so her freckles were gone and she had, like, red lipstick and eyeliner and makeup, and I was just like, "Bro, they're in a fucking apocalypse, like, there's robot dinosaurs. They don't have access to healthcare. I don't know why she has mascara. Like, what are you doing?" So
I
it's just
just
it's people just do it. I don't know why.
I don't get, it's gonna make me sound like a pick me boy, but I don't get where like fucking guys come off like that. I'm like, who gives a fuck, you know? And then I did see people too like joking, like a lot of women. I was like, oh, I fixed Joe from The Last of Us, and they gave him like a fucking lumberjack beard, like more
Yeah.
defined cheeks. And then
Uh-huh.
I saw another one where they got like Geralt from The Witcher and just kind of did the same
Mhm.
thing, like just made him look more like defined and everything. And I found that really funny that people were kind of shooting the shit with that.
People are they're wild, man.
Hmm.
They're wild. But
But you,
yeah, I'll watch the trailer. I haven't seen the trailer, so I'll have to watch it.
it's very like it's good. Like I said, it's someone who used to play D&D. You enjoy
Mhm.
it a lot because it's like it has D&D rooted into it because it has that fantasy element and all that.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll play D&D and I'll look at Fable.
And I always say this too. I mean, the Xbox has like a significantly cheaper version, so if you're on a budget when that game comes out, get that. But it's still a lot of money regardless. But that was something that I those are like a handful of things that really stood out to me. And obviously there
Mhm.
was a lot more games, and I'm just really excited. Also, I don't think I told you this, but going back to what I said at the beginning of the episode, I'm gonna be covering Anime Expo for GameSpot, and I'm really excited about
What?
that. Yeah.
No way. That's exciting.
Yeah, and I'm getting like all these emails too, so I'm gonna try to like uh bounce around, see if like other outlets are interested in coverage,
You think
because
you'll see an anime?
maybe watch an anime or two.
Wow.
Pokemon, just one Pokemon.
Mhm. Just one Pokemon. I'm not sure which one. I think it's a color. I'm not sure which color, but it's a color of some kind.
But no, um, I know the Flash is out. We got a couple minutes left. We can talk a little bit about the Flash.
No, I'm good. I'm happy.
I just
I
want to
don't
talk
even.
about my Supergirl. That's my Supergirl.
Oh yeah, okay. I will say right now, I didn't really want to watch this movie. I didn't want to support it, but a friend of the show, Jake, he's like, I want to see it. And then after rejecting him for like the fifth time, I say, do you really want me to go with you? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, damn it.
Moral of
All
the
right,
lesson:
fine.
if you just keep saying, keep asking, eventually you'll get what you want.
Yeah. so, so I'm just like, I guess. So I'm seeing it tonight, actually,
Hmm.
at
I
the time of this recording. So I will get back to you.
uh
From what I've seen on Twitter from people like taking videos and shit and talking about it, it does not look good. And every time I see someone praise a movie, I assume two things: either they're being paid or they're making a joke. Because I
or
don't.
what if Ezra's in the room with them? Like, you fucking send out that tweet
They-
right now.
they're in the corner with like a gun, and they're just like, "You better fucking
when
give
one
me a
of
positive
my one
review."
of my favorite things I saw. I know you don't watch The Boys, but
Mhm,
just to give you some context, Homelander, which is like their version of Superman, is like super deranged.
mhm,
He's like he'll fucking kill you just for sneezing the wrong way, you know?
mhm.
And so there's a scene in The Boys where Homelander is with this girl named Starlight, and the press is taking pictures of them. And he's smiling. It looks like he's having a good time. The camera slowly starts to creep in on his face, and you realize, holy shit, this guy's gonna snap any fucking second right now, you know?
Mhm.
And so I saw a tweet where it was Ezra walking down the red carpet, and then they quote tweeted it saying, "This is how they're acting right now," and it was the video of Homelander like smiling and like the face cream. And I just thought that was the funniest fucking shit in the world. Also, too, like Twitter has been having a fucking field day with this movie.
Mhm.
I was telling you in a DM exchange that I have seen like I don't know how many fucking pirated versions of the Flash already on my Twitter timeline.
Yeah,
I'm not even looking for it. Like
it just
I'm
pops up. It just
yeah.
pops up.
And then people are actively tweeting out they're like, "Oh, like it's that meme of Toy Story, not Toy Story,
Mhm.
Monsters Inc. where it was like it's the spider talking. He's like, "I don't care how long it takes as long as we get it done." When he's like giving his villain speech, and it's one of them is like, "I don't care if Elemental sucks. I just wanted to beat the Flash." And then I see other people too, of like our enemy of the podcast, Fruity. I've seen other people tweet of this nature where it's like, I've seen Transformers like 6 times now. We're not gonna let the Flash win.
I think the Star Wars quote is just like, "I don't care if you win. I just need this to lose." And I thought that was I don't care if Transformers wins. I just need the Flash to
And
lose.
I love how everyone is kind of uniting against Ezra, as they should.
They should. I thought it was really funny that on the press tour, it was nothing but Supergirl Sasha Kelly. Like it
Wait,
was,
really?
yeah. Ezra didn't do any press
That's
on all the
right.
interview.
I remember
Uh
seeing
huh.
a headline that they were like they just showed up to the red carpet, right?
Yeah, that's it. Because they should probably be in jail. So I'm not sure where they went, but yeah, it's Sasha Kelly doing all the interviews, doing all the red carpets,
You
and I
know,
think it's
good for
very
her.
funny.
Good.
Yeah, honestly, I hope they bring her back. They're probably not because they want to get rid of everything. But we'll see what they get rid of.
I
But
heard there's a post
uh,
credit scene too, so stick around for that. For whatever they show
I
off.
don't know. Uh, I don't know. But yeah, Sasha Callie, hot. I can't wait to watch her. I'm just gonna close my eyes so she comes on the screen, and then I'll open them. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Well, I don't know. I kind of just might just watch it for free. I was talking about it with my girlfriend. She was like, "I have no interest in watching it," and I was like, "Same
Mhm.
here." And then for what I've heard too, like the CGI looks really bad in this. It looks like a
Oh
PlayStation
yeah.
2 game or something. And I'm just like, we're in 2023, and we haven't evolved to that. Like, come on, what's going on? You know?
Mhm.
And
Like
then
when the Flash TV show looks better than you, then you need to do something.
oh, I saw speaking of the Flash TV show, I saw a TikTok clip of the finale where all the villains pop up and then like all the
Mhm,
Flash family just essentially like taps them all, bonks them all in the back of the head. And that's how every
mhm.
villain died in the Flash show or got defeated. I thought that was really funny.
That was very funny. If you actually like and care about the show, it was upsetting, but if you don't care, it's really funny.
Also, going back to the Flash movie,
Mhm.
it's being reported that Andy Muschietti, whatever his last name is,
Mm-hmm.
He's in talks to do Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So take that how you will. You know, I know
Uh,
you're not a fan of that.
neutral party to this podcast, Diego Crespo from the Waffle Press.
Mm.
I
Isn't
don't
he
know if
like
he's
in
an ally.
Europe right now?
No, he's in the States, but I don't know if he's an enemy or an ally. So he's a neutral party. Neutral party, Diego Crespo. I
Fucking
told him,
Spain,
and he
or is
got
it?
really mad, and he was just like, "Ooh, that guy fucking sucks," and I'll just believe him because I don't know anything about directors.
Yeah, I don't know anything as well. I mean, based off of the reception the Flash is getting, I'm not too hot on the Batman. And as much hype as I had for James Gunn taking over, it looks like that was just for namesake. I don't. It looks like nothing's gonna get done. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But
So yeah,
yeah, I
let's
don't.
all pray for me. Everyone pray for me and take a shot so that I'll survive tonight.
I I heard that Michael Keaton is pretty good in that movie. So if that means anything,
I've never seen any of his movies, so it means nothing to me.
I'm gonna go slash your tires.
It means I'm sorry, it means nothing to me. That's nostalgia bait, and I've never seen his movie, so it means nothing.
I'm gonna slash your tires.
Let's end the podcast, please,
All right.
so I can get ready to hide my car for when you come for it.
Noah, where can people find you if they want to get more Noah content?
Oh my gosh. You can go to onlyfans.com. So just kidding. You can go to Noah is Garcia on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can check out my YouTube channel at Noah
Yeah,
Garcia.
you've what, like 2 weeks now? 2 weeks in a row?
Um, I recently put out the Hollow Death of Miss
I mean,
Marvel
you
last
always
week.
put out, but
Today,
was
that's true. But yesterday, I put out a little video about the wasted potential of Superman John Kent. It did not get the response that Miss Marvel did, but I didn't think it would, so I'm not, like, upset about it because
yeah,
I didn't
that
think
seems
anyone
more
would.
of like a retrospect thing, huh?
Mhm. It's not like a relevant, like, topic.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not, but I like what I did, so there it is. But, Lewis, where can people find you?
So people can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Luis
Mm,
Gutierrez. And if you want to follow me on TikTok and Twitch, look up Joshua Joestar. Those are my TikTok and Twitch handles. But if you
mhm.
want to follow my work, all you have to do is Google my name, so Luis Joshua Gutierrez. You'll find all the work I've done with IGN, and you will find all the work I've done with GameSpot. But
Mm.
yeah, that's everything right there. I know Father's Day is approaching, and if your dad's alive and you have a good relationship with them, go give them a hug. If not,
Yeah.
if you don't have a good relationship and they're a piece of shit, um, just send them a text saying Happy Father's Day. Do the bare minimum. There you go.
Mhm.
That's our advice to you. All right, Noah. Anything else? What's the homework?
Um,
We almost forgot
oh
the
my
homework.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Your homework is to watch Andor if you haven't watched Andor.
Have you fucking watched that?
No, but that's my plan this week is to watch Andor.
I canceled my Disney Plus subscription, so whenever I see people tweeting about like Ahsoka, I'm just like, I'm not gonna watch this, or like Secret Invasion, I'm just like, I'm not gonna watch. But okay, my home.
Just steal enemy of the podcast Rudy's password.
That's the plan. Trust me. I'm working on it. I know he's not
No,
listening to this either.
he's not. He would never listen, so we're fine.
So my homework for the week is for you guys to write a 10-page paper, AP style, on the importance of climate change and why we need to act now. Okay.
Mhm.
If I don't get that at my email inbox by what's today, as of recording, it's Saturday. If I don't get that in my email box by Thursday, you guys are all failing the class. You're gonna have to listen from episode 1 and work your way back up.
Yeah, and it has to be in Chicago style. So it has to be in Chicago style. So you guys just make sure the formatting's correct.
And make sure to properly cite your sources.
And you have to have at least a minimum of 4 non-internet sources.
Good luck.
Good luck. This will be